In the depths of the ancient library of Alexandria, where shadows danced between towering scrolls and forgotten wisdom whispered through marble corridors, a young scholar named Miriam discovered something that would forever change her understanding of creation itself. The year was 285 BCE, and the great library held secrets that predated even the oldest civilizations known to man. It began with a dream that visited her for 7 consecutive nights. In this vision, she stood before a woman of ethereal beauty, whose voice seemed to carry the very essence of creation. The woman's lips moved, but instead of words, pure music flowed forth, melodies that painted galaxies into existence, and harmonies that breathed life into the void. "Who are you?" Miriam would ask in her dream, and the woman would smile with infinite compassion. "I am Sophia, the eternal wisdom, and you, dear child, have been chosen to remember what was forgotten." Indeed, when Miriam awakened on the 8th morning, she found herself humming a melody she had never heard before, yet it felt as familiar as her own heartbeat. The tune seemed to resonate through every fiber of her being, creating vibrations that made her very soul tremble with recognition. Her mentor, an elderly scholar named Hermes, noticed the change in her immediately. "You carry something new within you," he observed, his weathered eyes studying her with ancient wisdom. "What has found you in the realm of dreams?" "I believe I have been touched by something beyond our understanding," Miriam replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "There is a song that lives within me now, and I sense it holds the key to mysteries we have only theorized about." Hermes led her to the most restricted section of the library, where texts were kept that spoke of the primordial forces of creation. "If you have indeed been visited by divine wisdom," he said, producing a small golden key, "then perhaps you are ready to access the harmonic codex." The chamber they entered was circular, its walls adorned with musical notations unlike any earthly script. Strange symbols danced before Miriam's eyes, seeming to shift and flow like living entities. At the center of the room stood a crystal formation that hummed with an otherworldly frequency. "The ancient texts speak of Sophia not as a goddess of words," Hermes explained, "but as the divine musician whose cosmic symphony brought forth all existence. They say her first song created light, her second gave birth to the stars, and her third breathed consciousness into matter." As Miriam approached the crystal, the melody from her dreams grew stronger in her mind. Without conscious thought, she began to hum, and the crystal responded by glowing with increasing intensity. The symbols on the walls began to move more rapidly, forming patterns that seemed to tell a story older than time itself. "In the beginning was not the word," Miriam whispered, understanding flooding through her like a divine revelation, "but the song, the fundamental frequency from which all creation springs." Days turned to weeks as Miriam immersed herself in deciphering the musical language that surrounded her. She discovered that each symbol corresponded not to a letter or concept, but to a specific frequency, a note in the grand composition of existence. The texts revealed that Sophia had embedded this cosmic music into the very fabric of reality, and those who could perceive it could understand the deepest mysteries of creation. But her research did not go unnoticed. The Order of the Silent Flame, a secretive group that had guarded certain knowledge for centuries, became aware of her discoveries. Their leader, a stern man known only as the Keeper, confronted her one evening as she worked alone in the chamber. "Young scholar," he said, his voice carrying an authority that seemed to echo from the depths of time, "you tread upon sacred ground. The knowledge you seek has been sealed for good reason. But surely wisdom is meant to be shared," Miriam replied, though her heart raced with sudden fear. "If Sophia's song can heal the divisions between peoples, bring understanding to the world, you do not comprehend the power you attempt to wield," the Keeper interrupted. "The primordial frequencies are not mere music. They are the very building blocks of reality. In untrained hands, they could unravel the fabric of existence itself." If you enjoy these kinds of stories, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our content. And tell us in the comments where you are watching from. We would love to know. Despite the warnings, Miriam could not abandon her quest. The song within her grew stronger each day, and she began to understand that she was not merely studying these frequencies, she was becoming a conduit for them. Her very presence in the chamber caused the crystal to sing with increasing complexity, as if awakening from a millennia-long slumber. One night, as the moon reached its fullest phase, Miriam made a discovery that would forever alter her destiny. Deep within the most ancient text, she found a passage that spoke of the great resonance, a moment when all of Sophia's scattered notes would come together in perfect harmony, allowing direct communion with the divine musician herself. When the chosen vessel opens her heart to the infinite song, the text read, she shall become the bridge between the silence and the symphony, between the mortal realm and the eternal dance of creation. As Miriam read these words aloud, the chamber filled with a sound unlike anything she had ever experienced. It was as if every instrument ever created was playing in perfect unity, while simultaneously a profound silence seemed to embrace the music, like a loving mother. The walls of the chamber began to dissolve, and she found herself standing in a space that existed beyond physical dimensions. Before her stood Sophia herself, no longer just a figure from dreams, but a presence of such profound beauty and wisdom that Miriam fell to her knees in reverence. The divine being's form seemed to be composed of pure music, her every movement creating harmonies that painted new worlds into existence. "My dear child," Sophia spoke, and her voice was like the first song ever sung, "you have heard my call across the corridors of time. But tell me, are you prepared for what this knowledge will demand of you?" "I am," Miriam replied, though she trembled with the magnitude of the moment. "I offer myself as a vessel for your wisdom." "Then listen well," Sophia said, and she began to sing. What followed was an experience that transcended all human understanding. Miriam heard the song that birthed the first star, felt the rhythm that set the planets in their dance, and understood the melody that sparked consciousness in the first thinking beings. She witnessed the cosmic symphony in its entirety, a composition so vast and beautiful that mortal minds could normally only perceive the tiniest fragments. But with this gift came a terrible realization. The knowledge was too immense, too powerful for one person to contain. As the vision reached its crescendo, Miriam felt her very essence beginning to dissolve into the music itself. She was becoming one with the cosmic song, but at the cost of her individual existence. "Choose," Sophia whispered, her form beginning to fade. "Retain this knowledge and lose yourself to the infinite, or return to your mortal form and carry only what your human vessel can contain." In that moment of ultimate decision, Miriam understood the true nature of wisdom. It was not about possessing all knowledge, but about knowing which fragments to carry back to a world that needed them. With profound sadness but unwavering resolve, she chose to remain human. She awakened in the library chamber, the crystal now silent, the symbols on the walls dim. But within her heart, a portion of Sophia's song remained. Not the overwhelming symphony she had experienced, but a gentle melody that could heal hearts and open minds to greater understanding. The keeper found her there at dawn, and seeing the change in her eyes, he nodded with something approaching approval. "You have chosen wisely," he said. "The greatest wisdom is knowing the limits of wisdom itself." Miriam spent the remaining years of her life not as a grand revealer of cosmic secrets, but as a quiet teacher who used simple songs to help others find peace and connection with the divine. She never spoke directly of her encounter with Sophia, but those who learned from her often reported dreams of beautiful music and a sense of being connected to something infinitely larger than themselves. Before her death, she created a small collection of musical notations, simple melodies that contained faint echoes of the cosmic song. She hid these compositions within the walls of the library, along with instructions that they be discovered only when humanity was ready to receive them with proper reverence and understanding. Centuries passed, and the library was eventually lost to fire and conquest. But Miriam's songs survived, copied by those who recognized their power without fully understanding their origin. They spread across cultures and civilizations, becoming lullabies that mothers sang to their children, hymns that lifted worshippers' hearts, and simple melodies that seemed to carry healing wherever they were played. Even today, musicologists sometimes discover ancient compositions that seem to resonate with frequencies beyond their apparent simplicity. They speak of songs that can synchronize heartbeats across vast audiences, melodies that appear in the dreams of unconnected individuals, and harmonies that seem to bridge the gap between the human and the divine. Perhaps these are echoes of Sophia's original song, fragments of the cosmic symphony still vibrating through the fabric of reality. And perhaps in quiet moments when we lose ourselves in music that moves our souls, we are briefly touching that eternal dance of creation that began with the first divine note ever sung. The story of Miriam reminds us that true wisdom lies not in grasping for ultimate knowledge, but in recognizing our place as humble participants in a cosmic symphony far grander than any individual comprehension. Her choice to remain human while carrying fragments of divine music offers us a model for how to approach the sacred, with reverence, humility, and a deep understanding that some mysteries are meant to be experienced rather than fully understood. In the end, we are all potential vessels for pieces of that original song, called to add our own notes to the eternal composition while remaining grounded in the beautiful limitations of our human experience. And if you like this story, you will definitely love the next one that's appearing on your screen. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave your like, and activate the notifications. See you in the next one. The end.